All right, let's talk about the paper towel method of sprouting seeds. In particular, I'm doing pepper seeds, but this will work for a lot of different kinds of seeds. And so first of all, you want some fresh, clean paper towels, freshly out of the plastic, or remove a few of the outer layer so that they're not contaminated with any kind of mold spores from inside your cupboards or whatever. When you fold it in half, don't line up the corners exactly, because if you do, it'll be hard to get them apart later, so you're better off just off kilter a little bit. Okay, then you're going to take some water. I have here a 1 liter spritzer bottle. It contains 1 liter of water plus a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. I use the medical grade stuff. If you use this stuff for hair bleaching, it contains other ingredients and can actually kill your seeds. So I learned that the hard way. So if you're going to use hydrogen peroxide, just use a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon of medical grade stuff. And then I also throw a little bit of magnesium in here in the form of Epsom salt. And that's only because peppers are magnesium users and it's good to have a little bit of extra available. It's not strictly critical. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. All right, so I'm going to lightly dampen my paper towel just to make it a little bit easier to handle. And then I'm going to choose the seeds. Some Turkish snake peppers. As you can see, my original seeds were from the Hippie Seed company out of Australia. And most of the seeds that are in here are actually my keepers. So I had quite a few really gorgeous plants and some really nice pods, so I saved the seeds from those. I have a whole separate video on seed saving. It's kind of, all over the place, but I did that last year. Now, you'll notice that there are several different seed qualities. Actually, these are all really high quality, looks like. And I've got some hunks of pepper in there too. So I'm wearing gloves, partly to protect me from getting pepper essence on my hands, but also because we don't want to contaminate our seeds with mold spores and so forth, which are going to be on your hands. If you don't have latex gloves, you can go ahead and wash your hands thoroughly. They should be okay. Just note that some mold spores may make their way in there, and they grow really well inside these paper towel method. So this is an example of an excellent seed right here. These ones that are a little bit brown here are probably not going to be so good. And you'll notice that you can also find some seeds that are kind of a little on the white side, maybe a little bit small. Those will probably be from juvenile plants. So we want to use the nice, bright yellow, large, healthy looking seeds. Those are usually the highest probability of viability. This one's a little small, maybe a little flat, but most of these are really quite good. So the rest of this, there are no good seeds remaining. There's just those two that were kind of, they're dark. Here, I'll zoom in here. You can see it's a little bit dark. I'm not sure exactly. I'm sure somebody who knows more about seeds can tell you exactly what's going on there, but I can tell you most of the seeds that look like that end up being not viable. So we're going to just discard those. I'll sweep those off the table after. So now you can see we've got, my paper towel has 6 by 3, so I've got 18 plants ready to rock and roll here. Chances are pretty good that a few of them will be a little small, maybe not as vigorous. And so anything that's not super vigorous, I'll probably not end up transplanting when it comes time. So I'm just going to dampen that a little bit more. I'm going to close that up like so. Notice that I'm leaving a little bit off kilter here so that it's fairly easy to separate when it comes time. Dampen that a little bit more. So you want the entire paper towel to have some moisture on it for two reasons. One, obviously you need moisture to sprout, but also it holds them in place because we're going to transfer to a brand new clean Ziploc bag. If you reuse Ziploc bags, you want to make sure that you clean them out very, very thoroughly. using some method of killing any kind of mold spores that may have made their way in there. So again, if you're reusing them, make sure you've removed any mold. So now we're going to just slide this into the paper towel. Now some people are concerned about whether they need air or not. I can tell you I have used this method for hundreds upon hundreds of seeds, and I've never concerned myself with there being air inside. In fact, if anything, I flatten them out because it makes it easier to stack them or whatever. All right, and those were the Turkish snake. So today is February 25th. All right, and that is just about it. Before I get too far, I should point out that I usually actually give these an extra couple of squirts. You don't want there to be water pooling in the bottom. You see how there's no water pooling there? But you want to make sure that the paper towels are quite saturated. All right, so I've got 2 here. What I do next, well, here, let's just show you. Okay, so what we can do is we can take a box, like so, take your pepper seeds in their Ziploc bags, hang them like so. I guess my light isn't plugged in, but I usually throw a light like so, just like that, and then I may cover it up with some foil. The light that's inside here is an LED, so it doesn't produce a lot of heat. It just stays around 25 to 27 degrees Celsius, and that's pretty much ideal for most peppers. Some like to be a little bit warmer, so it's like 29, maybe 30, but a lot of peppers, once you reach that 30 degrees Celsius mark, they don't do well. So you want to keep it between 25 to 28, somewhere in that sort of ballpark, and your seeds are going to do exceptionally well. If you don't have a handy-dandy box with a handy-dandy light like this, then what you might want to do is throw them on top of your refrigerator. Now, it's important to note that if you lay them flat on top of your refrigerator, when those seeds sprout, the roots and the sprout doesn't know what direction to go. And so it ends up being kind of spirally and squirrely in there, and it will drill through the paper towel quite aggressively. And I've found that that's not ideal. So if you hang them, generally speaking, most of them will end up the roots going straight down and the sprouts going directly upwards. Much easier to manage. They don't often drill as much through the paper towels. They go between. They're happy to continue going between. The net result is they're easy to remove from the paper towel and transplant. So another place you can put them, and here I'll just show you right now. I have here, this is my little grow shelf I have going on here. You can put them up above your lights as long as it's not too hot. So up here I'm looking at around 29 degrees Celsius. So I don't have my thermometer up there right now, but you can just take my word for it. 29 degrees Celsius is just fine. They'll sprout nice and quickly. If it's too warm, it can kill your seeds. If it's too cold, they just might not sprout. They'll languish, or if they sprout, they'll be very, very slow. Yeah, and there's a few other things I've got growing in there. I've got some lemons back there. I've got some dragon fruit here. Let's show that off a little bit. Yeah, look at that dragon fruit. I got piles of basil. We use tons of basil in our cooking. So, yeah. And now pretty soon we're going to have peppers coming up the inye. So there is a quick and dirty how to do the paper towel method.